Katya here, and I got a selfie stick for Christmas. I wanted to make this video to talk about my journey with driving manual, why I decided to start driving manual, how I learned, and where I'm at now. So, as some of you may know, I previously had a Toyota Corolla, and that car was an automatic. That's how I learned to drive. I learned to drive on an automatic car. I gave my driving test in an automatic car, and I drove for several years in an automatic car. Basically, I switched to manual because I wanted to challenge myself. Not very many people in North America drive manual. It's definitely different in Europe, I know. But here in North America, not very many people do, especially in my age group. And I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. If I really practiced, I definitely believed in myself that I could do it. It wasn't easy though, but I definitely believed in myself. So before my first manual lesson ever, I just watched a ton of videos online on how to drive manual, and it gave me a lot more confidence because I started to understand the theory behind it, and I could see like, oh, okay, like you put it in first gear is there, and then you got to feel for the bite point. At that time I didn't really know how to feel the bite point because I haven't done it yet, but I definitely like in my head understood, okay, these are the processes. So then my first manual lesson was in a Volkswagen Golf, and for that lesson all I was doing was just trying to get a feel for the bite point and getting it into first gear. And I ended up succeeding after stalling a lot. So you will definitely stall if you when you're learning manual. But the nice thing is everybody stalls, so you don't have to feel bad about doing so, because that's just everybody's experience with it. So when I stalled, I wasn't feeling bad or anything. I was like, okay, this is just part of the process. And I kept trying over and over and over. And I would say that first manual lesson was a big success because I did get the car into first gear and I got myself moving and I learned how to stop and such. So when I first got this car, I had to learn to drive manual kind of all over again because I had to get used to this car now, feel this car's bite point, and feel this car's gears. So I started practicing a lot in like empty parking lots, and I was practicing at night. And I got into first gear, I got into second gear, and then I started going more on the road, and it was a bit intimidating because I always assumed, I guess, I don't know if you guys are the same, but I always assumed that people driving these kinds of cars would be experienced drivers, and I thought that other people on the road would probably think, like, they should be assuming that I'm a good driver, but I was actually just a learner in this car, and it made me feel a little bit shy, especially if I came across a red light, I was stopped and I was on a bit of a hill, and then I had to do a hill start. I was always so nervous for them because I was worried about stalling, and I did end up stalling sometimes, but then you have to remember that stalling happens to everybody when they're starting out with manual. It's a part of the process, and what helped me is seeing videos online of people driving like nice cars like this and other types, and it would be their first car and they would be learning manual in a nice car as well, and it just made me feel better that even though you have this nice car, you could still be a learner. And then I also saw videos of people buying their first manual car at a dealership and having about maybe like a half hour to an hour practice in the dealership parking lot and then driving home right after. And that really made me feel a lot better and boosted my confidence because if other people could do it like that, I could definitely learn to drive this car. So, what helped me learn to drive manual? First off, it was a lot of practice. Just keep practicing at it, and even if you feel like, oh, I'm never gonna get this, this is like way too much for me, like trust me, if I could do it, anybody can, like literally you can do it too. I was so intimidated at first, but I stuck with it. I kept practicing. I practiced like when at nighttime a lot, when it was quiet and the streets were not as busy, and eventually I did get it. And another thing that really, really helped me is watching pedal POV videos on the internet, where it's like they show you the perspective of like your feet while you're driving, and how like you can see them pressing like down in on the clutch, on the brake, on the gas. Those videos are so helpful, because then I actually understood like, oh, okay, my my left foot does this on the clutch, and then my right foot does this and that, and it actually really helped me understand a lot. So I recommend it. And another thing I did was just ask a lot of questions. So I kept asking questions to people in my life that I knew drove manual, and I it really helped me then like piece everything together on like, what do I do in this scenario or in this one, and then it just kind of boosted my confidence, because if you can understand it, then you're going to feel way more confident when you actually do it. So, where am I now at with my manual driving? I've practiced a lot, and I've driven on the highway, I've driven in town, and I feel like my shifts are pretty much smooth every time now. I do still have a bit of trouble with downshifting, especially from third to second. Making that a smooth downshift in this car takes a little bit more getting used to, because you need like either quite a lot more gas or to really ease off the clutch slower than you might think. But overall, my shifting is smooth, I would say. And I'm very proud of myself for being able to do this, to drive this car. In the future, I'm hoping I can learn to heel toe downshift, because I think like that's such a cool move to do. I really want to be able to heel toe downshift. So maybe soon I'll start practicing that. That's basically all I have to say for this video. If you guys are thinking of getting a manual car and you've never driven manual before, I I swear, like, I think you guys could definitely do it. If I could learn manual coming from an automatic car, you guys could as well. Uh, Stay believing, guys. Like, just a lot of practice and just believing in yourself, and you guys could definitely do it. That's all I have. So remember, stay chilling, guys.